Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes. It's Saturday, 25th of January, and we are doing it. We are football, fantasy, Premier League, FPL, all things soccer, all things football this morning, part 34, and a Saturday show. I know, nice and early for you guys, you early raisers, you guys that like to get the old biscuit before everyone else does in the morning. That's right. 8:45. Wow. So we're going to be doing some shows at 8:45 every Saturday go forwards. So join me live or check out the videos on YouTube. I will share my screen as always without further ado. Get you guys seeing what I can see. Let's prep it up for you all. Hope you're all having a good Saturday. Hope you're all well. You enjoyed the week gone by. So yes, let's get it all set up for you right this second. Let's get fantasy prepped so I can show you what I see. Here we go. Bosh. So then, this week we got some lovely little juicy fixtures, haven't we, really? The pick of the bunch, in my opinion, is today at 5:30, but we'll go through the games. Anyway, Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest. Going to be a good fixture at 3 o'clock. Don't forget, today's deadline is at, it's one of those, it's 1:30 today, so you got a bit of leeway because of the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Just had to check that in my head then. I had it already prepared. It was 1:30. Bournemouth versus Forest. Good game. Bournemouth are doing really, really well. Forest are doing even better than my opinion. I think that's going to be a win for Forest. I've brought in Wood as well, which I'll show you the team shortly. But yes, hopefully Wood does the business against Bournemouth. Brighton versus Everton. Going to be an okay game. Everton did quite well up until a certain point in their previous match against Spurs, didn't they? And then they started conceding. So I can see a draw in that game for that one. Ndiaye had a really good game for Everton. Hopefully he keeps that up because I am eyeing him up for the double fixture. Don't forget, game week 24 is double fixture week for Everton and Liverpool. Liverpool have got Ipswich. I've got Salah, obviously, and Konate. Kwanzaa is my bench sort of fodder in that sense. But yes, Liverpool versus Ipswich, I expected nice, good win for Liverpool and even a clean sheet in that game, to be honest, as well, with it being at Anfield. Southampton versus Newcastle, very similar to the Liverpool game against Ipswich. I expect Newcastle, Southampton to lose against Newcastle United. Isak, obviously, is a man for me. I do have Murphy in my team. No defence from Newcastle as of yet, no defenders. So something I'll definitely be looking at as the weeks go on and looking at the fixtures to see if they turn in Newcastle's favour. Wolves versus Arsenal. Though Wolves are at home, I do expect Arsenal to win. They should win, but it's Arsenal. Anything can happen, even as an Arsenal fan. But again, in that game, I've got Martinelli and obviously David Raya in goal as well. So hoping for a good performance from Arsenal away to Wolves at Molineux. And then the game that I just spoke about a minute ago, the highlight, my pick of this game week, Manchester City versus Chelsea. Chelsea with obviously Palmer playing against his former club in Manchester City. And City obviously even though they didn't do particularly well against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League, where they conceded 4, didn't they, in the end, and lost 4-2 in that game, they still performed okay to begin with. So the defensive lapse is not good. So if you've got any defenders in their team, that's a problem. If you've got any attackers, maybe if you've got your Haalands or your De Bruyne or Foden, they might do well this game week. As for Chelsea, Palmer is the man to watch, isn't he, really, for them? Nicholas Jackson, I would have said yes, but he can't hit a barn door at the moment and score. He gets all those chances and misses too much. So yes, perhaps Palmer is the man to watch for Chelsea, but I still see City beating Chelsea just. I think it's going to be a close game, maybe a 2-1 or a 3-2. Lots of goals in this game, I can see. So that's why it might be my pick a bunch for today. Then the next match is for tomorrow, Sunday 26th, is Chelsea versus Chelsea. They're playing the night before. Crystal Palace, rather, versus Brentford. Crystal Palace are looking really solid, aren't they, as a team? Brentford, sort of okay, but usually at home. So I can see Crystal Palace getting a sort of a squeeze 1-0 victory in this game. Eze looks good. Mateta is a man to watch at the moment. He's got up in price as well, so definitely someone to watch. For Brentford, if they're going to do anything, it's obviously Mbeumo and Wissa. They're going to do the job if they're going to get anything out of this game, really. But I can't see. I think Crystal Palace will hold firm. Spurs versus Leicester. Honestly, Spurs should win. They will win. But will they do a Spursy thing where they start crumbling a little bit in that game and throw it away? Spurs, I expect to win this game. I expect them to win probably comfortably. Expected Romero and Van de Ven potentially back for them as well, so that might make their defence a bit more solid. Their goalkeeper's young, Kimski, so we will see. But I expect Spurs to win this game, probably a 2-0 get a 2-0 victory in this one. No Solanke, don't forget, so that's a big blow for them. But they do have Richarlison back. Whether they rush him back into the first team, we will see. But they still have weapons, don't they, really? Maddison, Son, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, I think, might be back as well. So I'm not going to mention Timo Werner, so don't worry. Yeah, they've got some players. They should be able to do a bit of damage to Leicester and beat them in the end. Aston Villa versus West Ham, going to be a good game, that one. However, it is at Aston Villa's ground at Villa Park. Can I see West Ham getting a goal without Bowen? It's tricky, isn't it, really? I mean, their source of goals is basically Kudus, Paqueta, and at the moment Soucek, which is not really reliable source of goals, isn't it? Maybe Kudus. Maybe they might get a goal in this, but I can see Villa getting a couple. And they've got the interchangeable choice of Watkins and Duran having them up front. They can play either. Morgan Rogers is doing well since I got rid of him. Typical. I can't see clean sheets in this one, but I can see probably a 2-1, 3-1 Aston Villa in this game. And then Fulham versus United. Now, any other day of the week, I'd have said United win. But the way they are at the moment, and the way that Fulham are playing quite well actually as well, aren't they? So I can see a draw in this game, despite it being at Craven Cottage. Anthony Robinson's done really, really well, hasn't he, on that fullback position. I can see him getting involved today. That Iwobi, Smith Rowe and Jimenez, those guys are sharing the goals out amongst themselves, aren't they? I mean, it's really, really good. Attacking wise, they look decent. But I can see possibly a 1-1, maybe a 2-2 in this game. Draw for Man United. It's Amad Diallo, isn't it? All eyes are on him at the moment. He's signed a contract as well to reaffirm his commitment to Man United. He looks like the man to watch, doesn't he, really? Xerxes looks a little bit like a link-up player, but it's probably not going to score. Garnacho, well, he's potentially going out, isn't he, really? Anthony's going out as well. They're running out of wingers over at United. They're getting rid of them all. Fire sale at Old Trafford. But no, I think that United will get a couple of goals. I think Bruno Fernandes and Amad Diallo, they are the two sparks in that team that you look at, and I think they will get a couple in this game. So 2-2, I think, of this, or maybe a 1-1 Fulham versus United. No clean sheet for either sides, though. So my team going into game week 23 is as follow. Bosh, there you go. In goal, be no surprise to tell you that I've got David Raya in goal against Wolves. I think they can, not a clean sheet, unfortunately. I hate to say it. A lot of people are jumping off the Arsenal bandwagon. That's fair at the moment in terms of fantasy. They're not performing particularly well and conceding all the time. But I did say at the start of the season Raya was going to be my set and forget goalkeeper, and that does seem to be the case at the moment. Obviously, when the wild card come round, or if anything major happens to Arsenal, I'll start to make some changes at that point. But it's Raya in goal against Wolves, away at Molineux. Canate at home to Ipswich. Good call that is, for me, my opinion, for Liverpool, especially having Liverpool assets right now. And a double game week coming up. Nico Williams away to Bournemouth for Forest. You need to have a Forest asset, in my opinion. Nico is my man. Mikalenko is a new signing this game week. I have brought him in for Rico Lewis. I got fed up with Rico Lewis being on the bench. He did actually help me last week, ironically. Though he came on as a substitute and only got 1 point, he helped me because Levi Colwell was ruled out injured completely and so didn't play at all. So I ended up with only 2 defenders until Rico Lewis came on for his short cameo and got me a point. So actually, believe it or not, he did help me last week. He got me a 1 point. Yes, it's not great. This is not fantastic. Yes, I wanted much more from a £4.5 million defender, but he did get me 1 point. So his final contribution to my team was 1 point and give me 11 outfield players in terms of defenders. Mikalenko is in this week. He has Brighton. He is away. He is there for a reason, believe it or not, as a 1 week transfer. He is there because there is a double game week next week, which we'll look at shortly. Palmer against Manchester City, purely because he can score against anyone. He is the danger man for Chelsea. He is the man to have in your team. At one point, it was Jackson and Palmer. Now it's just Palmer. Enzo sort of had a short, let's bring him in, but I think he's dropped quite a bit in price recently. Mo Salah, obviously, is going to be 100% captain this week. It is a no-brainer, although Isak against Southampton is a tempting one, isn't it, really? But don't forget, Isak blanked last week. Salah technically got 3 with his clean sheet as well. So that was 6 for Salah and 4 for Isak if you captained him last week. So Salah's captain this week against Ipswich. They are at home at Anfield. Martinelli's got Wolves away at Molineux. Hopefully he at least starts and plays the 60 minutes plus. He did score last week, so I'm hoping that impresses Arteta. The only problem I have is against Dinamo Zagreb in the Champions League, Martinelli started and Trossard was on the bench. So does that mean that Trossard has the fitness and will start the game? Sterling also started that match as well, but a lot of the big team players did as well. Havertz was playing, and the majority of the team was first team. Rice was playing as well. So I'm hoping that doesn't affect Martinelli's minutes. We will see. Amad Diallo has Fulham away on Sunday, doesn't he, in the last game of this game week 23. Again, hoping for an impressive performance from him. It is Amad Diallo versus Jacob Murphy. Murphy has Southampton away. Amad Diallo has Fulham away. It's just because I see Amad Diallo being more explosive, whereas Jacob Murphy might get the odd, assist or goal, but doesn't seem to be entirely involved at the moment. He seems to be a bit passing to the person who assists or not involved and on the periphery of the game. Weiss has got Crystal Palace. He's going to be popular, Weiss, coming up because of his fixtures. He is away at Selhurst Park, so hopefully Weiss does the job and gets a couple of goals against Crystal Palace. Wood is a vice-captain this week, believe it or not. He will change. I think I'm going to make it Isak. I think it was vice-captain purely because I brought him in as a new transfer. So Wood is not the vice-captain, despite him doing very, very well. He has Bournemouth away. So we'll see how he does in that game. He's been brilliant so far. I've had to bring him in. It felt like it was written in the stars. And Isak will be the vice-captain against Southampton. I won't change it, I don't think, purely because Salah is at home against Ipswich, so I expect Liverpool to perform better at home than Southampton away for Isak. And then on the bench, as you'd expect, Fabianski is away to Aston Villa. He is the starting keeper again for West Ham, which is great. When he came back from the injury, we weren't particularly sure that concussion. So he's away at Villa Park. He's on the bench. Jacob Murphy's first on the subs bench for my outfield players. He has Southampton away. Again, it was him or Amad Diallo. Colwell is away to Manchester City. He's still got a exclamation mark injury by him, so we will see if he plays, but even if he doesn't, he is benched this week, and Kwanzaa doesn't play anyway, whilst Konate and Gomez is not fully fit as he's injured still, but whilst Konate is fit, Kwanzaa. But it's useful to have Kwanzaa because if anything happens to Konate, there's your Liverpool coverage. So there you go. He has Ipswich at home. My captain this week, as you can see, is Mo Salah. I have a transfer in the bank, or will have actually, as the deadline passes at 1:30 today. So don't forget to get your teams in at 1 o'clock, 1:30. I've obviously already set my team because I'm usually out and about, so I don't get a chance to do my team about 1:30. So I'll set my team now. And that goes for the 11 o'clock deadline. Normally on Saturday, I don't have enough time. So I set my team nice and early. And that's it, really. So price changes today. In case you missed them, Weiss has gone up. Good reason to have him in your team. He's now 6.3. Rogers has gone up. He's now 5.6. Konate, my man's gone up to 5.2. Murillo, the Forest defender's gone up to 4.7. And Gahey's gone up to 4.6. Down went Solanke. He's now 7.4. Gabriel Jesus is gone down to 6.6. Gvardiol's down to 5.9. Strand Larsen's 5.3. 8 Nouri's 4.7. And Kilman is 4.3. So, some interesting players there, actually. Weiss, my man's gone up, so that's fine by me. Let it keep going up. We've got prices increased. I'm thinking about Weiss keeping or getting rid of it in the future, so keep bringing him in, people. Let's get that price right up. Konate's good shout, but I have no real intention of getting rid of him. He will be my Liverpool asset unless he gets injured again. Gahey, I am eyeing up Crystal Palace, not necessarily Gahey, but I'm looking at Lacroix or Richards. Those are two players that play in defence alongside him. Solanke going down is not really anything of interest. Guardiola's expensive, but a good player. Strand Larsen's an interesting one, actually. If he can get his scoring boots on and start linking up with Cunha again, maybe he's a one for the future. The price predictor for tonight in terms of what is going to happen, Justin Kluivert's apparently going to go up tonight. Savinho is going to go down. Neto is going to go down, the Chelsea player. Emerson from West Ham's down tonight. He-Chan from Wolves down. Doesn't play much. Had a great season last season. Lancashire for Spurs is going to go down. Fotheringham's going to go down for West Ham. Pope, injured still, down. Gucci's going to go down for Villa. Nicholas Jackson is going to go down tonight apparently as well. And Face would be nice going down because it'll be a 3.9 defender. Yes, he will. And we'll have a quick look here at the double game week next week really quickly. I will do a podcast next week, which will be 8:45 again before the deadline nicely. Look at 11 o'clock next week. So I'll have an 8:45 deadline to get you guys all refreshed and ready to do fantasy Premier League, but all those stuff going on there. So next week, the reason why I brought in Everton and Liverpool players, we'll look at their fixture really quickly. Everton have Leicester at home and they have Liverpool away. Liverpool home, should I say, rather. So they've got two home games, Leicester and Liverpool. Liverpool, though, have Bournemouth away and Everton. So really worthwhile having a player from both of those teams. I am eyeing up a Everton attacker at the moment. We will see Ndai, maybe McNeil if he comes back to full fitness before then. So we'll see if he plays in the game today against Brighton. I think he might still be out though. But otherwise, it's difficult with Everton in terms of their assets because they're a bit up and down even with Moyes. So maybe we'll have a look at that as an option, really. And as always, I'll let you guys know about the fantasy, all of my options and streams and things. I'm on Facebook, of course. I'm on AJP85 channel. That's right, AJP85 channel. I'm on X, of course, AJ1985p. I am on Twitch, A_J_P_8_5, and I am on YouTube, AJ Hardy 85. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave some comments, people, because I would love to chat to you. It would be awesome to speak all things fantasy, all things Premier League, as always. But this is my team, basically. I don't know what you think of it. For those of you who tuned in before to my channel or watched any of my previous videos, you will have seen this particular team put out quite frequently, but I am changing it. I am becoming more flexible. I was quite rigid for a while with my team. You know, I want to have X and I want to have Y, but I'm looking at things like Reddit and other articles and other online forums to see what people think. I will quickly drag onto this screen one final thing. I did want to show you guys this, and I don't know if you're paying attention much to chip strategies and things that are going to go on for chips, etc. I don't know if you can see that. I just brought that tab across. Let's see if you can see that. Yes, you can. Right. This came up on FPL on the Reddit the other week, and it's about an article about what you're going to do with your chips and ideas and way of doing it. If you haven't seen it before, all about FPL. I use it occasionally, but not all the time. There's quite a few other articles that I use as well. And it's not telling you what to do. That's not what it's doing. And it's not forcing you to do these things, but it's giving you ideas and tips of when to consider doing a triple captain, when to do a bench boost, when to do wild card, all these kind of different, if you've got these chips left. A lot of you don't. Now, first and foremost, I will tell you openly, very likely next week will be my triple captain. Salah will be the man that I bring in as a triple captain, as a captain in general. So I'm looking at his game against they've got Bournemouth, haven't they? And they've got Everton. Despite them being a bit fixtures, when is the other best time? There's only going to be 2 to 3 triple game weeks, maybe this double game weeks this season. So something to factor in. And this basically is worth looking at, really. The conclusion to a lot of this really is when should you consider using your chips, really, that you have. Don't forget also, I'll put this out there as well, next week is the assistant manager chip kicks in, doesn't it, really? So you get to pick your assistant manager. Moyes is very much on my radar. I don't want to throw lots and lots of money into an assistant manager. Really, I can't do triple Liverpool because I have Kwanzaa right the second as well, blocking that. So my fault, maybe, but I had that moment where, Konate was injured, so I needed to have a backup defender in. I wasn't sure if Kwanzaa or Gomez were going to get it. So this just goes through really the fixtures, free hit, maybe 29, game week 29. When should you bench boost? Maybe on 33, 36 game week, that is, purely because there's more double game week. So there's going to be opportunities there for you to bring in that wild card around about 30 to 31 or 35, depending on the swing. A lot of this will come down to the draw for the FA Cup. It says it here, but you'll know then who's going to blank, who's not going to blank. There may well be a bench boost there. Free hit is a big one because it depends on whether 29 is going to be a big blank game week or whether possibly a bit further on 30 is going to be a big game week. This is game week 34. Keep an eye on that. The FA Cup will give us a really good idea of the draw for that as to whether it's worth doing it on one day or the other, really. So if you're going to be strategic with your chips and you're not just going to throw them everywhere and anywhere and just use them whenever you feel like it, logically speaking, every single season I've always waited until a blank game week, which makes sense to do the free hit. If we get 2 blank game weeks, because this season we could do 5 transfers, you can save up to 5 transfers and stack them. You might be able to maneuver certain blank game weeks, which maybe 29. Game week 29 is going to be a blank game week. If that is the case, you might be able to sort that out with a starting 11 by bringing in 5 players and swapping them around, and then free hit for 34, game week 34. In between that, maybe wild card to bring in players that you know are going to do well for the double game weeks. Keep an eye on the FA Cup. That's the big one, the draw for that one. And any other cup competition. We got the Carabao as well, haven't we? I expect, even though I love Arsenal to go through, I kind of expect Newcastle to progress in that one. And then the Spurs game, I think they'll probably get knocked out in the end. So yeah, I probably can't see Spurs progressing. So you're looking at the team, and obviously Newcastle go through, and then Arsenal and Spurs become teams that are available for you to use during that would have been blank game week. So yeah, keep an eye on the cup competitions really, and the draws for those. That's the big thing. I think they're coming up very, very soon. Let's have a look. The cup competitions, I think they declare them on here really, as to when they're available. But essentially, the FA Cup might have the biggest impact on everything really. Fourth round draws, there you go. So keep an eye on these ones. That's the FA Cup. So you need to really be looking after this week, next week, as to what's going to be happening, and then just monitoring it as you go along. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you've got perhaps teams that you support that you're watching in the FA Cup as well. The draw, obviously, with the big ones being United through. If they win their game, they're going to go through Chelsea, Brighton. So we're going to maybe get a Chelsea or Brighton team available for that blank game week. Really looking for the Premier League clashes. The Aston Villa versus Tottenham. You might get one of those. Everton versus Bournemouth. You'll get one of those. So there's a couple of proper sort of Premier League clashes. And then you're looking at sort of matches that you might think could be an upset in there, or it's a difficult game. Southampton Burnley might be a game which they struggle. They burn half decent, aren't they? Birmingham, Newcastle, expect Newcastle to go through. So you look really for the FA Cup draws and see what's going to happen and judge it based on that, really. So I thought I'd show you that really quickly. You guys might already know all about FPL. I've used it a few times for advice. Ben Crellin's quite good as well. He does stuff on X, doesn't he, Ben? He does the Excel sort of format, so you can see difficult and easy fixtures and maneuver this. So Ben is a good guy to sort of follow. I follow him on X as well, and then in general, because we're during the transfer window right this second, aren't we? Fabrizio Romano is good to watch as well, and check out his X as well, because he has all the details about who's going to be transferred in and out of the teams. Obviously I spoke about on X, and I put a post on there about Omar Marmoush, who's just signed for Man City. Obviously, he's not going to go straight to the first team, but maybe if you want a Manchester City asset, 7 million is quite cheap. If he hits the ground running and gets chances, could he be an option, really? You never know. He's the big sort of signing so far of this winter transfer, so we will see. We'll see how it goes. But otherwise, ladies and gents, don't forget, it is a 1:30 cut-off today for your teams. So get your teams in around about 1-ish so you don't miss out. But otherwise, I will see you fantastic people next Saturday at 8:45. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you missed this show, check it out on YouTube on AJ Hardy 85. I'll stick it up there shortly for you guys to catch up on it. But otherwise, as always, I've been AJ. Hope you've had a great rest of the day. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Peace.